Welcome back to Forest Friends. I'm Mrs. Sapp. Have you ever gone on an adventure before to look for something special? Today we're going to read a story about our forest friends who go exploring in search of something specific. As we read today, we will think about what the whole story is mostly about. What the story is mostly about is called the main idea. The way you come up with the main idea is to look for small things called details that happen in a story that helps you get to the main idea. We're going to look at a visual to help explain main idea and detail a little bit better. Here we have main idea and details. If you look at the little things, like the cherry, the frosting, and the filling, if you put it all together, the main or big idea would be cake. With cherry, frosting, and filling, together makes a cake. That's kind of like how main idea and detail works. Let's look at another visual. Here we have a pizza, but how do we know it's a pizza? You look at the details. You look at the little things that will show you the big picture. The little things or the details are pepperoni, crust, olives, cheese, and sauce. When you put all those ingredients or all those details together, you get a pizza or your main idea. As we read today, we will stop after each page and answer questions that will help guide us to get to the main idea. These questions might be, what is happening right now? What are our forest friends doing? Is there anything happening over and over again? Let's get started with Forest Friends Shapes Galore. One sunny afternoon, Marvin Mouse was eager to explore. What new shapes can we find? Let's learn some more. Let's go out into the forest and explore what we find, and try to find shapes of every kind. Sally Squirrel perked up, her tail flicking with glee. What kinds of shapes, Marvin? What will we see? Let's go on an adventure and see what's ahead. We might even find shapes in the sky overhead. What are our friends wanting to do? They're wanting to explore. What are our friends wanting to explore? Shapes. So far, the details of our story are exploring and shapes. Remember these details. They will help us come up with the main idea at the end. Remember, the main idea is what the story is mostly about. Marvin smiled and nodded. Let's take a stroll. Finding wonders in nature is the goal. Shapes in real life are everywhere you go. Let's discover them and see what we know. The friends set off down the trail, walking with cheer, when they came across a patch of mushrooms. Oh dear! Look here, shouted Sally, and see what I found. The bottom of each mushroom cap is perfectly round. What are our friends doing now? They are exploring the forest and they found some mushrooms. They describe the mushrooms as round. What shape can you think of that is round? Ovals are round, but they said it was perfectly round. So that must be a circle. Are our friends moving or are they staying in one spot? Think about it, and this detail might help us with our main idea later. Let's read some more. Gina Giraffe bent down, looking with care. I see some triangles on the mushrooms there. Their tops are pointed and the sides are straight. A real world shape, so fun to create. Great observations, said Marvin with delight. Let's take this mushroom and explore it in sight. A circle here and a triangle there. We're seeing shapes everywhere. Our friends noticed something about the mushrooms. The mushrooms don't just have circles. They looked at the top and noticed triangles. Our forest friends are looking very closely at items in the forest. How might you describe our friends if they're looking closely at objects? Stop, think, then answer. I would say our friends are curious, very focused, and very observant. They don't miss anything. They're noticing all of the shapes and nature around them. Let's continue on to see if we can collect any more details as to what our main idea of this story might be. So far, we have details of exploring, shapes, and curiosity. Remember, we often answer questions so we can get closer to that main idea. They continued their walk, and soon they found a piece of wood laying on the ground. It looks like a sign, said Robert Rabbit with a grin. That's a rectangle, thin and long. Let's begin. He pointed to the wood, noticing its shapes. It's a rectangle, and that's no mistake. Now let's try breaking this piece into more. Could we divide it into smaller shapes galore? Here are some questions for you to help gather details for our main idea. What did our friends just find? They found a sign. What shape was the sign in? You're right, it was a rectangle. Sometimes with main idea, you will notice some events or things happening over and over again. Do you notice anything that keeps coming up in our story? Stop, think, then answer. Shapes keep coming up in our story. Let's remember that as we continue on to find our main idea. Gina Giraffe gasped. This new idea of mine is to cut the wood in half on the middle line. With a little break, they split it through. Instead of one shape, now they have two. Sally Squirrel giggled. Look at these pieces. Two triangles. Perfect. This task never ceases. They're pointy at the top and the sides are straight. Let's put them back together to make something great. Marvin Mouse smiled. Yes, I agree. I wonder what the new shape will be. They lined up the triangles with points one on each end and watched as the edges were beginning to blend. Look at that, said Sally with a cheer. We made a rectangle. It's perfectly clear. The two triangles fit together so fine, creating the first shape that was truly divine. I see it now, said Robert Rabbit with pride. Two triangles can join to form a rectangle, side by side. It's just like magic, but it's really quite true. Shapes combine to make something new. What did our forest friends do with the rectangle sign first? Stop, think, then answer. First, they broke the sign into two shapes. They were two triangles. What did they do next? Stop, think, then answer. They put the triangles back together again to make the sign complete, back to a rectangle. Do you know the main idea of our story yet? Let's look at the details we have so far. We have our forest friends, and they are exploring. They are not staying in one place. They're looking at objects and helping Forest that make shapes. They have discovered that they can make new shapes by taking shapes apart and by putting them back together. Let's finish our story and see what all of our clues lead us to. The forest friend laughed and cheered with pride. Their adventure had shown them shapes far and wide. They'd learned to compose shapes and break them apart. In the real world, shapes are a work of art. And as they sat down on a patch of soft moss, they shared their discoveries, learning so much across. From nature's own shapes, big and small, they'd seen how shapes can be everywhere after all. Our details of exploring items in nature and shapes makes me think that our main idea is the forest friends explore helping Forest to discover shapes in nature. This is what our story was mostly about. We noticed the repetition of shapes. They were on nearly every page. Also, our friends didn't stay in one location. They were on an adventure exploring. Great job finding the main idea of our story. Let's look at all this on a chart for us to better understand. Here we have our main idea. The forest friends explore the forest and discover shapes in nature. We figured this out from details or clues, things that kept popping up over and over again. One of our details was they found circles and triangles on mushrooms. Detail 2 was they broke a rectangle into triangles, more shapes. Detail number 3, they put those triangles back together again to make a rectangle. Let's do some more practice with finding details that can lead us to a main idea. Let's start easy. I will show you some pictures. These pictures will be the details. You will decide what the big picture is or what the main idea of the details are put together. Our details are football, hockey, basketball, soccer, and baseball. If we put all these details together, what's the main idea or the big picture? The main idea for these details is sports. Let's try another one. Look at all the pictures. These are our details. They all have something in common that gets to our main idea. We have eggs, cereal, toast, milk, and pancakes. You might say, these are all things you can eat or drink. But we want to get a little more specific. These are things you would eat or drink for breakfast. So these are our details, and the main idea or the big picture is breakfast. Now we are going to get a little more challenging. We will read a short text and decide what are the main ideas by looking at the details. Remember, when finding the main idea, you often see words that repeat themselves. You might see certain words over and over again, kind of like we saw all of those shapes in our forest story. Apples are a kind of fruit that grows on trees. They can be red, green, or yellow. Some apples taste sweet, and others are sour. People eat apples as snacks or use them to make pies and juice. Fall is a popular time to pick apples from the trees. What is the main idea? Before we try to get to an answer, let's try to see if there are any words that repeat themselves over and over again. I see the word apples 1, 2, 3, 4 different times. So I'm thinking apples might be in our main idea. I also see trees twice. I also notice a lot of foods. I see snacks. The words taste and sweet, those are words to describe food. I see pie, I see juice, all very yummy things. So thinking of those words that repeat themselves, what do you think the main idea is? Apples are red. People eat apples. Apples grow on trees and are a healthy fruit, or fall is cold. The first one I'm probably going to get rid of is fall is cold, because apple doesn't even appear in that choice. So think about it. What do you think our main idea is? Our main idea is apples grow on trees and are a healthy fruit. The word apples and trees repeated themselves a lot, and with the healthy fruit, we saw lots of ideas of things you can make with the healthy fruit. Let's try another text and identify the main idea, what the text is mostly about, by looking at the details. Dogs are friendly animals that many people keep as pets. They like to play with toys and go on walks. Dogs can bark and wag their tails when they are happy. Some dogs help people by guiding them or keeping them safe. Dogs love attention and make great friends. Before we get to our main idea, let's see if there are any words that keep popping up over and over again. Did you notice any? I saw the word dogs 1, 2, 3, 4 times. So I know that our main idea is going to have the word dogs in it. I also see things that dogs do, like play, help, guide, keep people safe. So thinking of those things, what do you think our main idea is? Dogs like to bark. Dogs are good pets that help and play. Dogs eat food. Or people walk their dogs. Which one do you think would best describe the overall text? This one would be dogs are good pets that help and play. We know that they help because it says they guide people, they help people, and they keep them safe. Wow, this was a lot of fun. Your adventure doesn't have to stop here though. Since the main idea of our forest story was about exploring and finding shapes, your mission is to explore and find items that match a certain main idea or category. Let me show you. You can find a bag at home and think of a category of things that you want to put in that bag. Your main idea could be fuzzy items, purple items, favorite items, red items, or round items. Make sure you stick to that one category. The core category that you pick is the main idea. The items that you put in your bag are the details. I'm Mrs. Sapp, and you did such a wonderful job. I'm so proud of you. I'll see you next time.